Gemma Strang, Respiratory Physiotherapist specialising in pulmonary rehabilitation. Today I'm going to talk to you about chest clearance. Chest clearance is a valuable self-management tool that will assist you in staying well whilst you manage your respiratory symptoms. As it sounds, chest clearance helps to move phlegm, mucus, secretions, they all mean the same thing, from your chest, which may make doing day-to-day things easier, reduce the frequency and intensity of your cough, but possibly and most importantly, help to prevent a build-up of phlegm which has the potential to develop into a chest infection. It is therefore very important that if diagnosed with a long-term respiratory condition such as COPD or bronchiectasis that typically has a moist cough associated with it, that you do these at least once a day for life or as frequently as your therapist has advised you. Furthermore, if you're recovering from a significant respiratory event such as COVID-19, this technique can play an important part in your respiratory health for weeks and perhaps months to come. One thing to also take note of is that sometimes phlegm can be in the smaller airways of your lungs, which therefore prevents you from feeling it. So even if you're waking up one day and think, my lungs are clear, I do not need to do my chest clearance techniques today, please still do them, as that phlegm that might be stuck low down or at the edges within the smaller airways also has the potential to develop into a chest infection. The chest clearance technique I'm going to teach you today is called autogenic drainage. This version of this technique has been modified slightly to make it easier for you to follow given we are not in the same room together. Autogenic drainage is all about gentle breaths out to ease the phlegm from the smaller airways or the edges of your lungs to the larger, more central airways where it can be more easily coughed or swallowed to completely clear it from your lung tissue. If it is swallowed, it is no longer in your lungs and the enzymes and everything else within your stomach will help to break it down with no adverse effect. Contradictory to what many people believe, coughing is generally only useful to clear phlegm that is high up in your larger, wider airways, as coughing is a large force of air through sensitive tissue. So, with the exception of an initial cough to clear any phlegm that you feel high up, for the purpose of this technique, try your best to suppress the need to cough until the very end. Positioning and equipment. Ideally, you should be sitting upright in a well-supported chair. However, best avoid a chair which has chair arms, as that has a tendency to raise your shoulders and therefore make the technique less effective. Try to have your hands in your laps with your palms facing upwards and have a glass of water and some tissues to hand. As mentioned earlier, this is all about gentle breaths out. So if you imagine that this is your mouth, these are your lungs, and this is the phlegm at the bottom or quite at the edges, with each breath out you are dragging the phlegm from wherever it is, slowly and gradually up to the larger, higher airways nearer your mouth. So, how exactly do you do that? We recommend that you take a small, gentle breath in, ideally through your nose, hold this breath for a count of 3, and then gently sigh all the air out until no more air comes out, or until you feel a crackle, like this. Take a sniff in, hold, 2, 3, all the way out. You repeat this for 3 or 4 times, or until you feel a crackle, and then you have a rest. So I'll repeat that another 3 times. Take a sniff in, hold, 2, 3, and again another sniff in, hold, 2, 3, and one final sniff in, hold, 2, 3. Breathing all the way out until no more air can come out, or until you feel a crackle and hear a crackle within your chest. If you feel the need to cough at any point, simply swallow the saliva in your mouth or take a sip of water to help to try and suppress that cough. Repeating 3 to 4 long sighs out, like I have just done, can make you a bit lightheaded. So, once you've managed 3 to 4 long sighs out, rest and breathe normally for 5 to 10 seconds until any lightheadedness passes, or to prevent it coming on. What you have done in theory is move the phlegm from the small airways to the larger ones. So, as mentioned before, if this is your mouth and these are your lungs and the phlegm is at the edges or low down, what you might have done is move the phlegm from here to here, or from here to here, and your mouth is here. So, as you can see, this process is not an instant one. The next step is a repetition of the last. Breathe ideally in through your nose, hold your breath for a count of 3, then gently sigh out until no more air comes out, or until you feel a crackle. Repeating this for 3 to 4 breaths. So again, I will just demonstrate. Sniff in, hold, 2, 3, breathing all that air out until no more air comes out, or you hear and feel a crackle. You then, as I say, repeat that 3 to 4 times. You have a rest for about 5 to 10 seconds, breathing normally, and repeat. So 3 to 4 breaths out, have your rest, 3 to 4 breaths out, have your rest, and you keep going until you get to one of the following 3 stages. 1, that you start to feel too exhausted to continue, in which case move on to the next stage. I'll come to that shortly. 2, that you've been doing the technique for approximately 5 minutes or so. You will eventually want to aim to be doing it for up to 10 minutes, but for the first week or 2 that you're doing this, 5 minutes may well be enough. Or, number 3, you start to feel the phlegm gather high in your chest in these larger, wider airways I've mentioned before. Once you've reached any one of these 3 points, move on to the next stage, which is all about moving the phlegm to the back of the throat without coughing. This is known as a huff. To do this, we suggest you imagine steaming up a mirror or a pair of glasses to give them a clean, by opening your mouth fairly wide and forcing that air out short and sharp. So I will demonstrate this now. This process in itself may stimulate that productive cough we've been aiming for, or it may produce an even louder crackle, bringing that phlegm to the back of your throat, where you can now cough it into a tissue, immediately dispose of it and wash your hands, or swallow the phlegm if necessary. If you have no success in clearing the phlegm this time, perhaps consider returning to it later on in the day. There is no set time of day that you need to do this technique, but many patients do find that it's something that's good to do first thing in the morning to set them up for the day, and then other patients may repeat it up to 3 times thereafter. Maybe half an hour before your breakfast, lunch and dinner, and then half an hour before bed, for example. If you're suffering from a chest infection, it is important that you do still try to do this technique, but you may well find it harder to do so just with the necessary force of air out, and with the long breaths out also. I hope you find this technique of benefit. Take care.